Join us and the rest of the ASOTU More Than Cars crew for ASOTU's NADA Show Sessions, a podcast live from all the action.
We're bringing the best conversations straight to you.
Suzanne, here we are again. It feels like...
It doesn't feel like a year.
It certainly doesn't feel like a year.
That's for sure.
That is for sure.
But it definitely felt like a day yesterday as everyone was getting in.
The last few days?
It's been pretty amazing to see everyone actually pull it together, including the Lotlinx team.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the booth is standing is incredible.
The booth is standing. You have this big glass cube
it's
in
our
the booth
data
this year,
room,
which is so cool.
Which we want everybody should come into because the information they're going to see is unbelievable. So.
Okay, talk to us about that because it is. I came around the corner and kind of saw what you guys are doing. I think it's a unique thing. There was people huddled around these massive touchscreen style TVs.
Yeah.
What's the type of data that you guys are looking at right now?
So basically, we're able to show them their inventory and then how consumers are actually the demand against each individual VIN at the VIN level. And actually, then we can also show how many shoppers are shopping the same type of car and model in other stores around them. So all of that together, they're able to see what cars they really need to promote, what cars are not getting promoted, you can see as well, to really drive the activity to the cars that really need it.
That's awesome. You know, Lotlinx has been known as a data-centric team for quite some time, has produced industry reports about the broad scale of data.
Our Census report.
Right, exactly.
Report that we have now.
You know, obviously you've leveraged that data into marketing capacity for auto dealers for quite some time as well. And we're really starting to see how big data gets like injected into models and AI and reasoning and learning. What are you guys using the data now that you have access to enable dealers with?
So we've had access for 12 years, and obviously the access has only gotten better. So the beauty about AI and machine learning is that it learns over time. So, you know, there's a lot of folks out there who say they have AI and machine learning, but it's the more you put in and the more the models, you know, review the data, the more precise they become. So longevity and history is a key to this, and we've been at this for 12 years. So
it's like we're at this middle ground inflection point where there's a lot of people talking about AI, talking about you need to do these right things with your data. And I think that there really has become two camps of people. One camp who are the innovators, early adopters, and they're ready to try everything all the time. And then this other side, well, maybe there's three. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum are dealers who are like, you know what, I'm just going to keep selling cars. I'm not going to spend a ton of time thinking about that. And then there's this middle ground who is like more than kicking tires, right? They're taking test drives. What are the risks for the group on the far side who are saying, you know what, I'm not going to pay attention to any of that AI data integration stuff right now. I'm just going to keep selling cars. What are the dangers for those who are actually thinking that way?
There is so much that goes into the equation of selling a car right now, and the human brain can't compute all the data that is necessary to really see, like for you to see all the things, all the levers that you need to really action against. And so they're going to be left behind. This is the pivotal year for this. In that, you know, people have talked about AI, but in a lot of people's minds, AI was chatbots, and that's it. There's been so much beyond the scenes. It's almost like when the World Wide Web was introduced. You know, the people that didn't get on it right away were laggards. You know, and they fell behind. It's similar to this. So the human brain can't. They don't operate 24/7. A machine can. You know, and for us. And that's why we're calling it the machine, because it's really about what machine. So because everybody's saying the AI, that's how we're differentiating, because it's really the machine is 24/7 cranking billions of data points, which will then provide. And now what we're able to do now is really outlay it especially in our data room, you can see we're able to outlay it so a dealer can understand. And then have quick little bites so they can say, what's your next move? You know, what do I need to do today based on the data that I'm seeing?
One thing that I think is interesting that we don't explore a lot in our industry is the fact that even though you're in the automotive vertical, you kind of are in an adjacent vertical as a marketing, as a CMO, right? And you actually have to leverage similar tools that the company is selling. And I'd love to hear from you, particularly on like, as a marketer yourself, as someone that's thinking about the data within the industry that you have access to market your goods and services, the way you put together a booth, what are you, not what you're thinking how to the dealers, but what are you and your team thinking about right now when it comes to the marketing like muscle and exercise?
So the biggest thing in marketing for us is, especially in B2B marketing, is attribution. Who claims something, and it's similar to even our
the
product.
The answer is everyone's claiming it, right?
Right. So the dealers also, from a Lotlinx standpoint, and now we can bring that to them, and that's what's new for us. We can actually show them that our platform has brought them in those active, serious buyers and have made the purchase. So for me, it's the same thing. Like, we fight for attribution in marketing. So I want to claim. I want to claim.
It wasn't some salesperson
that old marketing sales
Right,
challenges. So that has been the biggest aha moment here. I'm like, it's no different in terms of our product and what we're trying to talk to our customers about than what a marketer is trying to. Because again, at the end of the day, all of the data is really trying to, in the insights, help dealers really sell more cars, and that data for me is that we want to sell more Lotlinx. So it's at the end of the day, it's the same thing.
I think that's important to realize is like a lot of times, whether it be industry partner or dealer side, we kind of like forget that the other team is also operating in very similar sets, right? The CEO of a software company and the owner of a dealership have similar things they're paying attention to. The marketing director of a dealership and the CMO of a software company are thinking about the same things. And so I think it's unique that we look at those things and go, yep. No, we're looking at attribution just like you are, so we're having to figure those things out for ourselves. I do want to know, whose idea was it to put a big glass box in the middle of it?
So that was a combination of our founder,
Cool.
Chairman Len Short, and the
makes
marketing team, because we wanted, again, it's all about the machine. So we were creating, it's almost like the server room is, it sort of has that feel. We wanted to have the feel of a server room.
It also reminds me of an Apple store. It's so cool.
Well,
when I walk by,
which
is a good association.
That did come up in our conversations too, and so it's been fun because again, look, you guys know, you talk to a lot of vendors in here. A lot of the stuff ends up sounding very similar, and if I were a dealer, I would be very confused, And it is confusing for them. I often feel bad, because how do you really decipher the good from the bad in terms of data and information and what do I need? A lot of these platforms, like some do some things, some do other things, some do both things, and it's just a myriad. It's a complexity, and again, that's the goal, to really, and that's been the hardest challenge. We've been out for 12 years, and you know what? We don't always get it right, you know, and dealers don't always get it right. It's the same thing. So the toughest thing is to really, how do we simplify it for everyone? And that is the hardest thing, to take billions of data points. How do we present it in a way? And that's what we're showing in the data room, how to really simplify it. So again, because there's a lot of data out there. People are inundated with data.
Yeah.
The challenge is, okay, now what?
How do we leverage it?
What do I do with the data?
Insight.
How do I leverage the data? The hardest things to do with data, and even as a marketer, is how do you leverage that for my next best move and our team's next best move to put out and make it actionable and make it win for us, know?
I think it gets back to the basic elements of human communication in general. Like, as a marketer, the simpler your message can be, the more effective it is, because, it takes less compute for me to make sense of it. And the second it gets confusing, right? And if it starts to get confusing, I stop. It loses my attention. I move on to the next thing. Similarly, you have all these data points being ingested, and the simpler, like, the machine can make it like bite-sized insights, bite-sized chunks, so I can know like the next right step, and not look at and when we're talking about that other group of dealers, not the early adopters who have the capacity to ingest more and like really want that complexity, But the real brilliance of it is making it simple.
And that was in all our enhancements for this year. That was the number one goal. How do we make it simple for them to action against? And that literally that's our mission for this year. Really.
So we talked a bit about the data side of it. Like, what data can we garnish, and maybe even on the other side, how do we attribute it? What about the middle, the actual action? Where are you seeing the action take place right now from an ads placement strategy, a creative strategy, and winning on some of these audience insights that you're gathering?
So basically, we're taking the insights and making sure that they're, obviously budgets are always a challenge. Profitability at dealerships is really, it's never been more challenging. This year in particular is going to be even more so. So we're, they spend a lot in advertising. And so we want to make sure that they are spending in the right places, and our data really helps them pinpoint and drive people to their vehicle detail pages, because a lot of times, agencies and marketers, and I always hear this, you'll buy on, Facebook and Google, and you'll drive somebody to their homepage. Well, okay,
great,
but those are impressions, but so you really need to think about where the buyer is on their journey, and that's what we're helping to distill. Where the shopper becomes a buyer, and where they're actionable, and then what media they're on when they are actionable. Make sure we're funneling them to the right place, and make sure that we're actually driving them to the right place to make their final decision. Yeah. And that would be and our ultimate goal is in vehicle detail pages, because when they get to that vehicle detail page, that's when that they're ready to click and go to the dealership and test drive that car.
And the attribution becomes a lot cleaner.
A lot cleaner too. And now we're linked in with most of the CRM data now. So that is new for us too, in terms of having the connectivities with the CRM data. So that's how we're tracking a lot of the consumer actions.
Yeah. Well, I think that is the golden nugget. It's like when in 2009 when we were like, oh, we can spend money on digital stuff, and then the holy grail was always, we're gonna know who sent the lead here and why they bought, so we can go spend money more again. And I think we're starting to see some of those full circle journeys, and even looking at weighted multi-touch attribution, and how do we figure out where to spend the next dollar, right? Yeah. Who to spend the next dollar?
It also has to be tied to your objectives. So dealers have to do branding work. I mean, so sure. They do. I argue that, let the OEM do a lot of it, and then you should do things that really differentiate your dealership, and then tie the objective to the plan. And I don't see a lot of that very detailed planning going on in terms of, here are these consumers, we need this percentage of branding, we need this percentage of moving and selling cars. And so the tactics that you're going to do in those stages should be really different. Mm-hmm. And knowing the outcomes of those are really important ahead of time. So this way you're spending your money efficiently. And that's the thing. That is a lot for a brain to compute.
So much to compute. Yeah.
So much. Well, Suzanne, it's been a great talking with you about this. It's obvious that you are all being very thoughtful about this approach. And I specifically like the way you're trying to focus on making it simple to make sure you can wrap your arms around all of the industry and move people forward in this brave new machine AI world.
Welcome to machine world.
Thanks
for spending some time.
Thank you.